It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 113. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, January 26, 2025. A great day to talk about video games and be alive. So welcome to the show. I hope you're doing great out there in the world. Thank you for being here for another episode. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. I've started streaming. I think I'm going to do 2 days a week is what I'm planning on. Every Tuesday and Thursday around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States. If that's where you live or wherever in the world you would like to check out some streaming, please check me out on Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow. I'm going to try to get on a consistent kind of schedule there is my plan. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. So for today's show, we have our three sections. As always, the first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The second section, which is the mid section, the middle section, it's not mid in quality. It is the section where I tell you about what's going on around the video game world. So news, releases, speculation, sales, anything you need to know about the video game world. Just listen to the mid section of this show each week and you will know. And then the third and final section is a break from video games, the miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So normally get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you about what's going on with my favorite teams out there and let you go on the journey of my sports fandom with me. So that is the plan for today as well. So welcome to the show out there. Hope you're doing good. Been a little chilly around these parts. Actually, been some snow on the ground, which is pretty cool. And what else? There's some football going on today. In the NFL world, the playoffs are going on. We're down to 4 teams, so that's pretty exciting. Have 2 football games on today, if you're listening in real time. And then we have a break in between. And then the Super Bowl, I believe, is February 9th. So some pretty exciting stuff going on with the football world. And then once the football world wraps up, we are really into baseball waiting season. So we will get into the sports talk at the end of the show, but just some exciting things going on today. So let's see here. This is a video game show. So what's going on in the video game world, and in particular my video game world? What have I been playing in the last week? I've been playing a few random things. The main thing I've been playing, though, is Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door. So I've been talking about for the last few weeks what the year of the what on the Dep Lewis Show, and I think we're going to go from year of the backlog to year of the retro game. So I've really been looking into some retro stuff. I bought an N64 at the end of last year and bought a couple games for that, and been playing some of these GameCube games or have them on my mind and on my backlist. So I think we're going to go to the year of the retro game on the Dep Lewis Show. I've been watching a lot of retro YouTubers. I picked up the old console, picked up a few games. It's nice to kind of plug and play, have a few things here and there. I don't have really any plans on like having a collection of any kind, but just picking up a few games here and there, maybe picking up a few consoles could be an idea for the year of the retro game. And these are all things I can stream and show off and capture footage of, which is nice for the most part. I'm able to, because of the Hyperkin 3-in-1 translator. It takes your AV cable and turns it into HDMI. So there's some pretty cool stuff out there to get these old games working. As long as you have a working console and a disc or a cart that works okay, you're able to play some of these games. So there's also modern ways to play them, like re-releases and things like that. So I think we're just going to have a year of focusing on the retro games. Since there are not a whole lot of games on the main calendar of new releases coming out that I definitely want to play day one, why not focus on the retro games out there? So I don't know when I'm going to make the delineation of a retro game. I kind of think anything before Xbox 360, PS3 kind of era, but even those are a little bit retro to me. But like definitely GameCube, PS2, original Xbox, SNES, all that kind of stuff, we're going to consider retro. Some old DS stuff we're going to consider retro, and it's not going to be a very precise thing. But for the year of the retro game on the Dep Lewis Show, I've been playing the Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door. That's from 2004. I just got to Petalburg, so I've started this game a few times. I played it. I was trying to think that I played this game back in the day, but I really think I played a lot of the Paper Mario on the Wii. So I don't know if I ever have any history with Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door, besides some like ancillary viewing of someone else or something like that, or hearing about it. I really think I was mistaken on that. And I think the Wii Paper Mario is the one I've spent the most time with. But Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is a game I've started a few times, and I have restarted it now to have a clean playthrough. And we're going to see how far I can go in this game. But I really do enjoy everything about this game so far. Even the short amount of time I'm playing it, I'm like, this is one of my favorite games. And that is definitely some hyperbole and way too early to say, but just getting some great feelings from playing Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. It's got some great, amazing visuals that still hold up. The writing is very funny. There's actually some funny moments in this game. The combat is cool. It's a really good take on turn-based combat. There's some fun things in the mix there that keep you engaged and that are fun to do along with the normal turn-based combat. And the music in the game is amazing. It's nice to even just leave the game paused or leave it open in the open world while you're walking around your house and have the music blaring. So it's a really, really cool game, and it's a perfect game to start off the year of the retro game on the Dep Lewis Show. Another game I've been playing is something I have picked up recently, and that is a copy of Pokemon Pearl for the DS. So I've plugged this into the DS. I'm playing this game. It's from 2006, so we're going to consider that retro. And I have chosen the water type Piplup. So I've also kind of determined that I do usually lean towards the water Pokemon in Pokemon games. So that's what I'm doing in this game. I'm pretty early on, just an hour or so in. I've got my Pokemon. I've started wandering around the open world, fighting some Pokemon in the grass. I don't have any Pokeballs yet, but I'm making some progress. Playing some handheld video games, which is very nice. The DS is just something fun to revisit, and I'm adding that into the mix over here on the Dep Lewis Show for the year of the retro game. So that's what I've been playing mainly this week. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Pokemon Pearl, other games that have been in my periphery, or I've been thinking about, that kind of thing, have been Super Mario RPG. I actually did play some of that this week. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, talked about that. Metroid Prime is one I would like to get in here. Mario Sunshine, something I played in the last few weeks I'd like to play more of. Pikmin is something I played a little bit of this week as well. And Luigi's Mansion. So a whole lot of Nintendo games I'm focusing on here for the year of the retro game. But these are games that I have played a little bit of, would like to play a lot of, and would love to complete is kind of my plan here. So for the year of the retro game, that's kind of what we're looking at. A couple RPGs from Mario, Metroid Prime, Mario Sunshine, Pikmin, Luigi's Mansion. Going really hard on the GameCube era. Some of these games have subsequent sequels, which would be nice to get into at some point too. So there is a lot of video game meat on the bone, as someone might say. So if I can complete some of these games, there's latest and greatest, maybe possibly latest and greatest versions of these games that are able to be played. So we're going to go on the year of the retro game journey on the Dep Lewis Show. So that's the plan. That's what's been going on with me. Been playing some games, been watching some retro YouTubers. That's been really fun. And also been checking out some local stores and things like that for some retro games, and checking out the internet and eBay and things like that. So getting a little bit into the mix of looking at some older video game stuff. So we're definitely going to have a ton of great content always, and especially for this year, at the year of the retro game on the Dep Lewis Show. So that's what's going on with me. And that is going to wrap up the first section of the show. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say out there in the world just generally. I've started to stream, so I did that two days last week. I was going to try to do 3 days a week, maybe just start at 2 and see if I can get a consistent schedule going there. So Tuesday and Thursday, check me out on Twitch in the evenings. Going to be playing some games for a couple hours. Pretty loose schedule on that, but please do think of me on Tuesday and Thursday night as well for twitch.tv/DepLewisShow. I also recorded a talk over to something that we're going to talk about in the midsection. There was a showcase last week from a video game company, and I recorded a video talking over it, watching through, kind of skimming through some sections of it, but posted like a 22-minute video on YouTube and Patreon if you want to go watch me talk over and kind of react to the press conference. So I waited till later in the day. I watched it. I tried to miss some of the news. I caught some of it, but I watched the whole thing later on and recorded it. So that's on YouTube and Patreon. That's the second talk over I've done, and I plan to do these for any future like press conferences or news releases or any cool videos out there to watch video game related, and I can post them on YouTube for you to hopefully enjoy and get the Dep Lewis Show breakdown on what's going on with these video game things out there in the world. So that's going to wrap up the first section of the show. I think that's everything I need to tell you. That's everything I've been into, and we're going to come back for the midsection where I tell you about what's going on around the video game world. So come back after this lovely music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 113. This is where I tell you about what's going on around the video game world. And something I mentioned in the first section, or alluded to, Xbox had a developer direct 2025 that took place on January 23rd. It was around 52 minutes in length. There was a video on YouTube and Patreon of me watching most of it and talking over it. If you'd like to go check that out, I think it comes in around about half the time. And Xbox, for this developer direct, decided to give us a behind-the-scenes look at new gameplay features and the latest info for some of the biggest games coming to Xbox in 2025. We heard straight from the game creators at id Software, Compulsion Games, Sandfall Interactive, and a surprise studio for a game that we're excited to unveil. So we're going to start off with the surprise they were excited to unveil, and it's something that I guessed correctly on the show. So I'm giving myself some credit once again for predicting that they would talk about Ninja Gaiden 4, or a new Ninja Gaiden game is what I was predicting. So that has taken place. They showed this off immediately at the beginning of the developer direct. The studios handling this are Team Ninja from Koei Tecmo Games. I guess that's maybe the larger owner of Team Ninja, possibly. Or I think Team Ninja is actually owned by Xbox, so I don't know. Maybe Koei Tecmo is the publisher. But they're also collaborating with Platinum Games, which is pretty cool here. So this is going to be available on Game Pass, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and PS5. The release date for this will be fall 2025. No price shown, but I'm guessing this will surely be $69.99 US, a full price game. This is going to fuse Team Ninja's tempered combat philosophy with the stylish, dynamic action gameplay of Platinum Games, is what they're saying. And you can engage in visually stunning combat that rewards precision and strategy. So this they're touting as the definitive Ninja action-adventure franchise returning, embark on a cutting-edge adventure where legacy meets innovation and a high-octane blend of style and no-holds-barred combat. So a very cool series. I played one of these games back in the day on Xbox 360, and that game was actually Ninja Gaiden 2. And along with this announcement of Ninja Gaiden 4 coming, they have announced that Ninja Gaiden 2 has gotten a re-release, or a remaster called Ninja Gaiden Black 2 has gotten a re-release, or a release. It's available on Game Pass, Xbox Series X, S, PS5, and Steam right now. So you can buy this outright for $49.99 US if you'd like to, and take on the role of Ryu Hayabusa, a ninja who has inherited legendary dragon sword and takes on battles across the world in this graphic remaster of the popular high-speed ninja action title that returns after 15 years. So that adds up about to the last time I played Ninja Gaiden. It was the first one I played, but it was definitely kind of eye-opening on a really cool genre I hadn't played a whole lot of, and it kind of introduced me to have games with really difficult combat. So something I'm still a little bit leery of, a little bit scared, timid of to play these days, but I do enjoy some difficult combat from time to time, and this was a great example, especially just because of the art style and the characters and the world building in this action, mainly action game. It was all very fun to walk around that world and be a part of it while taking on these really tough battles. So I think it's cool they are kind of reviving this series in a great way this year, especially. So we have Ninja Gaiden 4 coming fall 2025. We have Ninja Gaiden Black, which is re-released right now. It's available right now. I keep saying re-released, but I mean it's a remaster, but it's released right now. So go check that out. That's new. And then the other Ninja Gaiden they have available is going to be Ragebound, which is the 2D side-scroller one. So that one's coming in summer 2025 for PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. No price yet shown for this. I don't know if this one will be a $69.99. It could be in the $49 range, but who knows. The developer for Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is the Game Kitchen. It's a brand new side-scrolling entry to the series that redefines the classic platformer saga in a spectacular, thrilling, and challenging ninja adventure. So a lot of Ninja Gaiden news there, but very cool. It's seeming like it's going to be a big year for them. And shout out to Team Ninja and Platinum Games teaming up for that one. So pretty cool stuff there to start off the Xbox Developer Direct 2025 that just took place. So what else did they talk about? They talked about a game called South of Midnight, which we've all seen before at least once. The studio for this is Compulsion Games. And the news here, it's going to be available on Game Pass, Xbox Series X, S, and PC on April 8th, 2025. And if you want to buy it outright instead of playing it on Game Pass, it is $39.99 US. So in this game, you can learn an ancient weaving power, explore the Deep South mythos, and confront mysterious creatures in this folk tale for modern times. So a lot of good descriptors in there to describe this game. It's like a third-person action game with some magical stuff going on. And it definitely has some Deep South mythos, and it has some folktale vibes to it. So, and some modern folktale for modern times. So definitely a great descriptor of the game right there. And it's very visually cool to look at. When a hurricane rips through Prospero, Hazel, the protagonist, is pulled into a world of memory made real and embarks on a journey to rescue her mother. Hazel will need to reconcile the weight of family, history, and legacy. So definitely a promising looking game. Not something I think I would play on day one, but something I am excited to see what people think of it. So that is South of Midnight being shown off in this Xbox Developer Direct from Compulsion Games. And the release date for that's going to be April 8th. So a lot of these games in this Direct, Xbox is giving us a nice roadmap for early in the year and a little bit for later in the year. So pretty impressive stuff here overall. Another game talked about was called Clair Obscur. I hope that's how you say it, but I think most people will know this one as Expedition 33. And this one is coming from Sandfall Interactive is the studio making this game. This one's going to be available on Game Pass, Xbox Series X, S, PC, and PS5. The release date will be April 24th, 2025 for $49.99 US. So we're seeing here another April game. And we're also seeing here Game Pass, and we're also seeing here, well, in this case, we're seeing PS5 on this one. So we're seeing that with Ninja Gaiden. We're seeing that with Clair Obscur. We didn't see it with South of Midnight, but I would guess maybe later in the life cycle it will come out for PS5 because that seems to be Microsoft's strategy right now. But in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, it's coming out April 24th, 2025, and they are touting it as a groundbreaking turn-based RPG with unique real-time mechanics, making battles more immersive and addictive than ever. In this evolution of JRPGs, real-time action enhances the heart of turn-based combat. So this one had my brain going to Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, the combat in those games, which I really, really enjoy. It's a little bit passive, it's a little bit active. You can kind of play it however you want, really, a little bit, but I enjoy the turn-based mix with real-time action is kind of a fun thing if it's done right, and it seems like that is what this Expedition 33 is doing, which is a surprise to me. So some pretty cool information there, definitely worth watching, and that is coming from Sandfall Interactive on April 24th, 2025, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. All right, the last game that was shown off in this Xbox Developer Direct was Doom: The Dark Ages, and the studio for this is id Software. It's going to be available on Game Pass, Xbox Series X, S, PC, and PS5. So there's PS5 in there again. The release date will be May 15th. So, the month after those other two games. May 15th, 2025 for $69.99 US, a full price game. It is a prequel to the critically acclaimed Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal that tells the epic cinematic origin story of the Doom Slayer's rage. As the super weapon of gods and kings, shred enemies with favorites like the super shotgun and a variety of new weapons, stand and fight on the demon-infested battlefields in this vicious, grounded combat the original Doom is famous for. So this was definitely an impressive part of the trailer. It looks very cool. Doom is something I've been interested in. It's a little bit gory on the surface for my immediate liking. That's just kind of my preference. I'm sometimes a little bit skittish of that kind of stuff, but the music in this game, the quick gameplay, and some of the gun stuff could really get me interested in it. And this one looks very cool. You're more tank-like in this game is their philosophy around this one. So you're supposed to kind of stand your ground a little more and fight instead of jumping and shooting or being more mobile. So this one you're more tank-like. You have a shield that's pretty imperative to the battle, so that seems pretty cool too. And then you have some awesome guns, as always, in the Doom game. So this one was really fun. It was cool to see around their studio during this presentation, and they were really good at presenting their video game. And Doom: The Dark Ages looks like it's going to be really, really cool. And it's kind of surprising that it's only, I guess it's 4 or 5 months away, but getting some early stuff here for Xbox in the year and having Doom: The Dark Ages in May is a pretty heavy hitter. So that was the Xbox Developer Direct. It was a pretty interesting show. They showed off some good stuff, had some new reveals like the Ninja Gaiden 4, and we talked about South of Midnight. We talked about Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Doom: The Dark Ages, and also Ninja Gaiden Black 2 is available right now if you want to go play one of the older Ninja Gaiden games in a remastered form. So that was a little bit of a surprise drop from the show. So Xbox Developer Direct 2025, a good show. You can also watch me talk over the presentation on YouTube and Patreon if you would like to go check that out on the Dep Lewis Show channel. So what else is going on around the video game world? So one thing that is brought up at every show these days is, where is Hollow Knight Silksong? So the only bit of information we got from that is Matthew Griffin, who handles the marketing and publishing for Team Cherry, the developer of Hollow Knight Silksong, wrote last Friday. He said, yes, the game is real, progressing, and will release. So I don't know. People were saying that confirmation actually does the opposite, where it makes things seem like it's not going well. It's like thou doth protest too much. But I think he was just putting a funny line out there. I think this game is being made. I think this game is being handled with a lot of care, would be my guess. Hollow Knight was a massive success, and the sequel to that needs to be at least equally as good in the minds of the people, because Hollow Knight is so revered. So I think it's a tall order to put Silksong out, so I don't mind that they're taking more time to do it. I think anybody making a video game should take as much time as they need to put it out, because that's how you're going to get the best product. And you have to have some type of deadline or some type of goal in mind of when you're going to release it. But I don't think anybody should be hurried to put these things out when you're selling them to people and then expecting them to go along for this ride where you're still making the game. I think it is perfectly fine to wait for these games. I think if you communicate it okay to the public, Silksong has a little bit of mystery going to it. They said it was going to be out within a year. I don't think it's been out within that year. So there is a little bit of cause of concern because their messaging has not been exactly true. But I think there's something to be said for the little bit of mystery here with Hollow Knight Silksong. And I think my guess overall is just they're trying to make this game as good as they can be. They enjoyed the little bit of mystery. They're definitely not mad that people are excited about it and asking for it all the time. So I think they're staying on the down low, letting all the community and the people excited for it kind of keep the buzz alive. And hopefully their portion of the deal is to deliver a great video game. So I think that's going to be the case. But Hollow Knight Silksong was announced in 2019. What else? In this game, you can play as Hornet, Princess Protector of Hollow Nest, discover a vast haunted kingdom in Hollow Knight Silksong, the sequel to the award-winning action adventure. Explore, fight, and survive as you ascend to the peak of a land ruled by silk and song. So Hollow Knight's something I need to give another try to. It's like many games where I've tried it a couple times. I like a lot of things about it, but I just have not stuck with it for whatever reason. I don't think it's a fault of the game. I think it's a fault of the user error and something that maybe I'll get to in the future. So Hollow Knight Silksong, the only news there is the game is real, progressing, and will release. So not a lot of concrete information, but it's nice to know that the game is being worked on. So what else do I have for you in terms of concrete information here in the midsection for video game news? I want to remind you about a video game coming up. It's less than a month away. It's called Avowed. It's coming out on Xbox Series XS and Microsoft Windows. It's going to be a Game Pass game. If you'd like to buy the full version, it's $69.99 US. It's releasing February 18th, 2025. It's being developed by Obsidian Entertainment, so that is definitely an eye-catching note here for this new game. It's a new IP, so that's nice too. A nice thing to support, so hopefully it's going to be a good game. It's a first-person fantasy RPG set in the fictional world of Eora that was first introduced to players in the Pillars of Eternity franchise, so I think that's some kind of cool Cosmere kind of world-building stuff there. A little bit of a connection to another franchise, but basically an entirely new franchise in Avowed. So coming out on Xbox on February 18th. I don't really know what to expect from this game too much. My inclination is not to try it on release day. I don't think I've played a first-person game in a while. Maybe the last first-person RPG I played was something like Skyrim, but I don't know. I'm interested that Obsidian's developing this. I like that seems like they're putting a good push behind this game. Some of the stuff I've seen, I enjoy RPGs. I enjoy fantasy RPGs. It's possible I could like this game, but it's possible I could just try this game on Game Pass, which is a nice option as well. But Avowed comes out on February 18th, 2025. So we're just talking about some more general kind of video game news here in the mid-section. So what else is going on? Xbox Update Preview has now enabled support for external USB drives larger than 16 terabytes. So I think there's an update coming to Xbox. Some people are part of the preview, so we're getting some information from that. I believe is the case here. And in this news, the external USB drives larger than 16 terabytes will be able to be used. So that is a whole lot of terabytes holding video games. But in modern times, I guess it's not as much. It's more. I was about to say it's not as much as you think, but it really is. But newly formatted drives that are larger than 16 terabytes will be formatted with multiple partitions to utilize all available space for games and apps. These will appear as multiple devices in the storage devices list. A small subset of users will also see a new change on the dashboard that should improve visibility of available discounts on the Xbox Store. So that's something I've seen on the Xbox, where they show you, or you're going through the store and they'll have an offer that's like just for you. And sometimes they're pretty enticing offers. I don't think I've ever pulled the trigger on one, but I think it's an okay touch. I really kind of dislike having any of the advertising stuff on your main page, but you're just not going to get away from that on modern consoles nowadays. That's something where it's the year of the retro game on the Dep Lewis Show. Playing some of these older consoles, you can just hit the power button and the game starts up. So there's going to be some more load times and things like that, but being able just to avoid seeing any advertisements and just anything like that, avoiding all the other stuff besides the video games is sometimes nice, and that is a good reason to have some retro stuff going on in the mix if you so choose to. But Xbox has their update preview going on right now, a couple of bits coming out of that, so having a hard drive larger than 16 terabytes, I think that's going to be a pretty niche audience there, but still cool to have the option. And I do like the thought of having all my games on a hard drive and able just to plug and play. So it's something, maybe in the future you'll be hearing me tout the glory of 16 terabytes or something like that, but I don't think anytime soon. All right, what else is going on? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's a game that I've been playing some of. I'm still in the midst of playing. I would love to complete at some point. It's available now on PC, so that's the news here. It's a full price game, $69.99 US, but 30% off on Steam right now until February 5th. So something good to know there if you'd like to get the game a little bit cheaper. In this game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the unknown journey continues. I guess it's not really too unknown because you can go play Final Fantasy VII, but hey, they're having some flavor text here. After escaping from the dystopian city of Midgar, Cloud and his friends set out on a journey across the planet. New adventures await in a vibrant and vast world in the standalone entry to the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. So this game, this is a game I am playing right now. The open world stuff's a little bit new to this game, and I just am undecided on if I like it. I really kind of do like the more linear nature of the first game in this trilogy remake, but I also could just maybe not interact with some of the open world stuff. But I think that's been a little bit of a turnoff for me in Rebirth, but it's something, there's a lot of things I do like about it. And maybe I've just trying to play this too closely to finishing remake for my preference. I don't know, but maybe a little bit on the back burner for me, but something that's still in my mind is playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and is available now on PC. And the other news here for Final Fantasy VII Trilogy Remake fans is Square Enix has now completed the story on the third and final part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. So you may, just like I'm thinking right now, hey, completing the story from an old game, you're just kind of regurgitating the old game, but you have to, they're adapting the story for the modern game and changing it a little bit, so there has to be some type of strategy or outlining going on here with the story of what they're trying to do, and if they're trying to add some new stuff in or whatever. So I think it's a good point just in development to have this part done, and an interesting tidbit to know that this game, I don't know, maybe we can expect it sooner than later. I think it took a good while between the other two. I think it was maybe 6 years or something like that. So maybe we'll get the third and final version a little bit sooner, but I would maybe not hold your breath. And that is maybe a reason I am not pushing too much on this game to complete it, because I feel like I have some time, and it's a very long game, I think. So if you want to complete mostly everything in the game too, I think it takes an extra long time, but I don't think it's any type of a short game. So maybe that's a little bit of my apprehension on really jumping into the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But if you are excited and want to play that right now, it's available on PC as well, along with PlayStation 5. All right, what else is going on that you need to know? Let's see here. We actually have a few more good stories here. Well, this one, I don't mean to say good story in this regard, but PlayStation has canceled 2 live service projects, one from Bend Studio and one from Blueprint. So, they went really hard into the live service stuff, and the rumor is that the Bluepoint project was a live service God of War game. So I don't think every game needs to be live service. I think it's really kind of rough to see a single player story game trying to be turned into a live service game. It just seems like a wild thing, and really, really missing the mark on what people want. I think they're seeing that. So that's why these games are getting canceled. I think they're seeing this vibe-wise, and I think they're seeing this financial-wise. So those two things are glaring at PlayStation and Sony in the face right now, and they're having to adjust their course. But Sony says they're not shutting these studios down, but they cannot confirm if this will result in any layoffs. So I think that's not a great sign there. But other news, there's some other news. There was a Horizon MMO that's alleged. I don't know if it's been canceled. I don't know if it's still going, but just wanted to mention that. It's kind of my first time hearing about that. So just another thing I don't really understand. why, me especially, I would not like to play that. And I just really don't see it there being a huge market for that, but I don't know. But PlayStation's kind of been missing the mark on some of this stuff lately. I think the pullback from some of this live service is good. I think people like the options to have a live service game, but I think people like just fully complete video games, a full experience that you can just play. There's not going to be things added to it later in the future. Maybe if there's some DLC in the future, maybe there's an extra level like Astrobot's doing, adding an extra level here and there. I think all that stuff is kind of icing on the cake to a great video game, but I think with some of these live, I don't think everything needs to be a live service. And I think if you enjoy a live service game, there's not going to be too many of those you can balance at one time. You're going to either be playing Call of Duty, you're going to be playing Fortnite. There's going to be kind of one of them you stick with, I would think, for the most part. And it's a tough battle to think people are going to be playing multiple live service games for a majority's sake. So I think they're really seeing that, and it's interesting to keep following up with what these studios are putting their resources towards. But PlayStation has canceled 2 live service projects, one from Ben's studio and one from Blueprint. All right, some PlayStation adjacent news. Insomniac Games, one of the great developers of all time, one of my favorite developers of all time, the president and founder, Ted Price, has retired after 3 decades. I believe this man is in his 50s still, so congratulations to him. He's still a relatively young person out there in the world, and he's retiring after 30 years at Insomniac, after founding Insomniac Games. So pretty incredible. And he's saying he felt it was simply time to step aside and let others pave the way for our team. During the past year, I had the opportunity to work with senior leadership team at Insomniac to create a succession plan that I know will provide the continuity, stability, and strong leadership necessary to deliver more of what our fans cherish over the next several decades. So my only speculation here with Ted Price being in his 50s is, did he really want to leave? Was there some type of internal strife, some type of internal disagreement, or is he really just wanting to move on? Or is he maybe feeling his influence isn't being taken into consideration as much? I really don't know here, but it's a little bit of a surprising move. But 30 years is a long time to be doing anything, I guess. But there's been a lot of success there, and he's been the driver of that success, I guess. So it's a little bit of a surprise move, but congratulations to him. I hope that is exactly what he's wanting to do, because he's created or helped create franchises like Spyro, Ratchet and Clank, the new recent Marvel Spider-Mans, which are some of my favorite video games of all time. So nothing but a salute and a tip of the hat to Ted Price on retiring after 3 decades, and to Insomniac Games in general. I wish both parties much success, and I will be interested in what they both do in the future. Maybe Ted Price is going to do something more independent or on a smaller focus or smaller scale. Who knows? Maybe there's a lot of possibilities there, and hopefully Insomniac will still be in good hands, because they have a long, great history, and I hope that history will continue. They have the upcoming Marvel's Wolverine game, which is something that is a day one purchase play for me, and there's not too many of those out there in the ether. So Insomniac Games, Ted Price retiring after 3 decades. So congratulations to him. All right, what else is going on? Let's see here. There's been a game that's been canceled, something I really didn't know too much about, but Earthblade has been canceled. The developer is Extremely OK Games, that has announced this game has been canceled. This is this was supposed to be the follow-up to the award-winning game Celeste, which was created by Maddie Make Games, I believe is the case. And then the team was reestablished under the name Extremely OK Games, is I believe the history of that. But Earthblade was first announced in 2021 and began development in 2019. And the little bit of reading I did on the internet, it seems like there's some rumors of the team fracturing here and deciding to go their separate ways. So some of them, maybe a little bit of, I was going to say disgruntled, but some type of disagreement or non-cohesion on the team here has caused some of the development stuff not to go as smoothly, and it has actually caused the game to be canned completely. So it seems like some pretty sad stuff there. Celeste was a critically acclaimed hit, and people still love that game and talk about it until today, and will for a long time. And kind of like Hollow Knight, there's a lot of pressure in making the sequel to a really, really great game. Maybe some of that pressure got to the team here, so definitely understandable, but sad to see nonetheless. So hopefully all those people will end up doing what they want to do, and work on the next great project that they can make. So Earthblade has been canceled. So a little bit of sad news there from developer Extremely OK Games. All right, the last bit of news for this week is just some speculation. Something we've been talking about for the last few weeks. We finally got the firm announcement of the console, the Nintendo Switch 2. The few rumors I've heard this week is it's going to be released between April and September. So I don't think that's too bold of a prediction because you're only really leaving a few months out at the end of the year. But the next thing we know is we're going to get some information from Nintendo on April 2nd, I believe is the date. So early in April will be the next time we hear from Nintendo about this console. And until then, we're just going to hear rumors, and I'll bring them up from time to time on the show because they are fun to talk about. So some rumored games heading to Switch 2 would be Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We've talked about that. Halo, the Master Chief Collection, Diablo 4, Call of Duty game, Fallout 4, Starfield, Tekken 8, and the Elden Ring. So just cool options. I like the idea of Switch being able to play more third-party stuff in general. Nothing right there is going to get me all the way excited, but I think it's cool to have the option. It's going to be kind of strange and neat to see Halo on a Nintendo platform and things like that. So some of that stuff will be novel and a nice option, but I'm interested to see. I want to hear the information from Nintendo of what's going to happen with this console. I'm really pretty excited about it. And I've also seen some rumors of the Switch 2 OLED out there. So maybe there's going to be two options. Maybe there's going to be an LCD and an OLED. I've kind of thought about that. I have the OLED Switch. It almost seems like a little bit of a downgrade going back to the LCD. But if there's more processing power and things like that in the handheld, I would be glad to do so. But it would be nice to have the OLED option. I still don't know if I'd want to pay the OLED price out of the box or out from the gate, but the OLED has been extremely nice with the Nintendo Switch and definitely does make a difference if you play in handheld. So I maybe just don't play in handheld too often to fully enjoy it, but when I do, it's really nice. But if you're mainly a handheld gamer, that OLED screen looks just extra beautiful. So that's really all the Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. Nothing too hot out there on the streets. A lot of people talking about the price. I don't think there's anything too clear out there on that. I think people kind of say if it gets over $500, it's going to be a little bit unbelievable, but I could believe that too. So I really don't know. But the next time we're going to get information from Nintendo will be early April. And I believe April 2nd is the date, but don't quite quote me here on this episode right now because I am not sure. I don't have it written down. But that's going to wrap up the midsection of the show today. That's everything you need to know about around the video game world. So we talked about the Xbox Developer Direct, and I do have a talk over of that on YouTube and Patreon, so please go check that out if you'd like to see the visuals behind that. But we talked about Ninja Gaiden 4. We talked about Ninja Gaiden Black 2 is available right now. We talked about Ninja Gaiden Ragebound coming in the summer 2025. We talked about South of Midnight getting an April 8th, 2025 release date. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 getting an April 24th, 2025 release date. Doom the Dark Ages getting a May 15th, 2025 release date. We talked about some Hollow Knight Silksong rumors. We talked about Avowed, which releases on February 18th, 2025. We talked about the Xbox update preview. We talked about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth out on PC right now. We talked about PlayStation canceling 2 live service projects. We talked about a big retirement at Insomniac Games. We talked about Earthblade being canceled, which was the follow-up to the award-winning game Celeste. And then we got into some Nintendo Switch 2 rumors, which maybe we just need to save a spot each week in the midsection for some Nintendo Switch 2 rumors until we get some more information from Nintendo or the console actually releases. So that's everything you need to know. Thank you for listening to all the video game talk this week. That's going to wrap up the midsection. We're going to come back for one final section, the Miscellaneous talk section after this, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. And for today, as always, I want to get into the worldwide world of sports. So come back after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 113, the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So I want to tell you what's going on with my favorite sports teams out there. So my NFL team is the Carolina Panthers. Nothing going on with them. We're on to 2025 for the Panthers. They are enjoying their vacation, enjoying their off season, and hopefully the Panthers ownership is thinking about giving J.C. Horn a contract extension. So that's my only wish and hope for the Panthers this week and in the upcoming weeks is that they are going to pay J.C. Horn to stay around. He's coming up on his 5th-year option season, so after next season, he's a goner, and he can choose to go wherever he likes to and go get a huge bag of money. So I implore the Panthers to pay him this offseason, get this discussion out of the way, have another great person to keep on the team for a long time, and you got to pay somebody, so pay J.C. Horn, Panthers. And the Panthers have the 8th pick overall in the upcoming draft is the other bit of news there to just keep in your brain out there if you're following along with me or just a Panthers fan in general. And that's what I'm looking forward to with the Panthers. But for the NFL, we have the playoffs going on today. There are 4 teams left. We have the Eagles and the Commanders, and we have the Bills and the Chiefs going on today. So a couple football games today. Then we're going to have a break for a week, and then we're going to have the Super Bowl the weekend after. So almost another football season in the books. and I'm going for the Chiefs only for FanDuel's sake. So some sports betting going on out there. Please gamble responsibly, but I would like the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl is my wish. So I'm telling the world that. Go Chiefs as a Panthers fan over here. But what else is going on with my favorite teams? The Charlotte Hornets. Get into the NBA world. The Charlotte Hornets have been doing, I guess, a little more winning than they have been. Last Monday, they beat the Mavericks. That was on MLK Day and in Charlotte at noon, so pretty cool. The Hornets won 110 to 105. Wednesday at Memphis, the Hornets lost 120 to 132. The Hornets were 11 and 29 record-wise after this. So just to give you a picture of what the Hornets' record is looking like right now. They just got into the double digits recently on wins. But Friday versus Portland, the Hornets lost 97 to 102. And Saturday versus New Orleans, which is pretty bad for New Orleans, the Hornets won 123-92. So a beatdown there, which is nice to see from the Hornets. And next week, the Hornets have the Lakers, Brooklyn, the Clippers, and Denver. And then my other favorite NBA team, the Atlanta Hawks. Monday at the Knicks, the Hawks lost 110 to 119. Pretty disappointing week for the Hawks, for sure. Wednesday versus Detroit, the Hawks lost 104 to 114. Thursday versus Toronto, the Hawks lost 119 to 122. The Hawks are 22 and 22 record-wise after that particular loss. So right there at 500 and trending downward. Saturday versus Toronto, the Hawks lost 94 to 117. So not even close in that game versus Toronto, who I don't think has any big playoff or NBA Finals aspirations at this moment. So pretty sorry result there. Next week, the Hawks have Minnesota, Houston, Cleveland, and Indiana. So I've been a little bit down on the NBA. I do plan to go to a few more Hornets games before the season's over. So I think that's really been my only excitement for the NBA recently is just some in-person games. I haven't really been tuning in too much to watch these games, to be honest with you, but still following along with my favorite teams and watching them from time to time. But mainly the Hawks have been playing pretty sad basketball out there, which is frustrating. All right, what's going on in my favorite sport, the baseball world? My favorite team in the Galaxy is the Atlanta Braves. It's the offseason for them, and they have actually had a good signing last week. So the Braves have made I guess it's their first splash signing of the offseason, and they have signed Jurickson Profar, outfielder, to a 3-year, $42 million contract. So the Braves spending some money out here. Profar is 31 years old and most recently played for the Padres. He's a switch hitter. He's from Curacao, so another great outfielder from Curacao on the Braves. Immediately think of the great Andrew Jones. And so some pretty exciting stuff there. Profar, I really enjoyed watching him on the Padres. He was a good player for me in fantasy for a while. And the Braves definitely needed a new outfielder in the mix here. So a relatively guy, a little bit older than his prime, I guess, but still relatively young. Still has some definitely has some years, allegedly, with some high-powered baseball. You can see with Freddie Freeman going on out there, getting in the mid-30s and still balling. There's examples of that across baseball. So catching Profar at 31 is nice. Getting him on a 3-year deal, have a reliable outfielder, a switch hitter in there is nice. Give Ozzy some love with some switch hitting. And, go Braves. A really nice pickup, and I think they could still stand to get a pitcher and maybe an upgraded shortstop. But other than that, I'm just ready for the baseball season to start. I'm ready for all the guys to be healthy, and I am excited for baseball. So, thinking about one thing, spring training begins on April 22nd, so that's less than a month away now from if you're listening in real time. And the first game of the regular season is at the Padres, March 27, 2025. So, get your baseball hats ready. The season is going to be here pretty soon. One bit of Braves news that's not too great. AJ Minter, the great reliever, left-handed pitcher, signed a 2-year, $22 million contract with the Mets. So, sad day for AJ Minter, sad day for the Mets, minus AJ Minter getting $22 million, which, great for him. But can't be excited for the Mets, not a fan of them. And AJ Minter is a good pitcher. Sad to lose him, but, he got a nice payday there from the Mets. So, thank you, AJ Minter, for being a great Brave. And I wish you a little bit of personal success on the Mets. Definitely nothing against the Braves. Maybe some success against the American League and just your personal life in general. That would be kind of what I hope for you over there on the Mets, Mr. AJ, the Juice Man Minter. So, just a little bit of little side Braves news there. But other than that, in the MLB, what's been going on? The Dodgers had another signing. One of the best relievers on the open market, left-hander Tanner Scott. They give him a 4-year, $72 million contract, so the rich get richer with the Dodgers. They keep spending that cash. They keep upgrading that roster, and they are going to be in World Series contention for the foreseeable future. The other bit of news, Blue Jays add outfielder Anthony Santander on a 5-year, $92 million contract, $92.5 million contract, so they had to give him that 0.5 in there. Santander is 30 and has been with the Orioles his whole career previously, so a little bit similar to the what I was saying about Jerkson Profar, getting a guy who's been a great professional for many years, has a good bat, just in the early part of his 30s, and going to get a big payday on a new team. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good pickup from the Blue Jays, who have been rumored to be sellers for a while. They're actually adding, a bat to their outfield as well. And the Blue Jays should be better than they are. So I think they're kind of smart for staying put. I was, hoping maybe, Vladdy or Bichette would like to come over to the Braves or something like that. But I think they're smart for staying put on their team and not panicking too much. They have some good players on their roster and trying to build around that. And, you can't, there's only one team that's going to win it every year, and you got to just feel like you're going to be in the mix. I think that's what most of these teams would like to feel in general. That's about as confident as you can be of just being in the mix. But all right, so that's all the MLB news for you. That's everything I have for you this week. So that's everything going on with my favorite teams. Nothing going on with the Panthers, except I want them to pay J.C. Horn. The Hornets have been winning a few games. The Hawks have been losing a lot of games. The Braves made a nice signing this past week, signing Profar to 3 years, $42 million. New outfielder for the Braves, new switch hitter. We talked about some MLB signings in general, and I'll keep you up to date with this stuff every week because it's something I follow and love to talk about here on the Miscellaneous Talk section of the Dep Lewis Show. So that's going to wrap up the Miscellaneous Talk section, and also going to wrap up the entire show. So thank you for listening today. I would like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. Check me out there on Tuesdays and Thursday nights around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a couple hours, play some video games. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. And then Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. So thank you so much for listening. I really do hope you're doing great out there in the world whenever you're listening to this. Maybe you're listening to it in real time. Maybe you're listening to it 10 years in the future. Maybe you're listening to it while riding down the road on a road trip. Who knows? Maybe you're working out. Maybe you're working. Maybe you're cooking dinner. Maybe you're playing some video games. But whatever you're doing, I thank you for listening to this show. And I hope you have a wonderful day and the rest of your week and whatever's going on with you. And I'll be back for another episode of the Dep Lewis Show next week. And I will see you then. Thank you for listening.